I bring you special greetings here on the Pan-African Drive. Of course, it remains a platform that is meant to inspire and motivate the current generation of young Africans in the actualization of their respective dreams and preaching the message of peace and national unity. As well as revitalizing the Africanization policy that speaks about good governance, social justice, democracy, human rights, and most importantly, the African unity. Like I always say, until Africans learn to own their own problems, find their own solutions, they won't be able to write their own stories. That's the essence of the Pan-African Drive. And for today's edition of this very wonderful platform here that is meant to build bridges between and amongst Africans, we are super proud and honored, should I say very privileged, to be in a one-on-one conversation with one of the brightest minds of the Gambian nation, in one Mr. Kawusu Badji. We'll take a quick break, and once we will have returned, and I speak with you deeply with this guest on the show here. Mr. Badji happens to be a media practitioner who is also involved in the social justice practices, and he's serving the capacity of observing of elections in the Gambia and Senegal respectively. We'll take our quick break, and once we return, you hear from him shortly on the Pan-African Drive with me, Tony Michael Howard, on Teledar TV.
Scan the QR code and register on My AfriCell app, and boom, you get 1 GB free instantly. Just scan, download, register, and enjoy. Check your balance, browse bundles, send and receive money instantly, pay bills in seconds, anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back from that short break. Just like I said before we took the break, that we have a very wonderful, bright mind of the Gambian state here in Mr. Kawusu Badji, who is going to be speaking with me on this edition of the Pan-African Drive. Should I say welcome on the show today, and we are super proud to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, and then indeed, I'm also honored to share the few knowledge that we have and experience when it comes to observing elections, but also when it comes to good governance and democracy, more specifically on this platform, the Pan-African Drive. So indeed, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
We are super honored once again. You hear from the house's mouth here that he's super proud to be on a show here with us tonight. And wherever you are, under the sound of our voices here on the Pan-African Drive, we say massive salute to your viewership, your likes, comments, and analysis on the Pan-African Drive make us better as media outlets. And should I say those in the western part of all Nigeria, we say massive salute to Liberian, massive salute. All of the viewers across the continent of Africa, we salute and respect you, because in the absence of you, there is no Teledar TV. Quickly, Mr. Badji, I must firstly commend your effort, your humility in honoring this very call today, because it's very impromptu. Dealing with top professionals around the world is not easy that you informed someone yesterday to be available today, and they waste no time in responding to your call. We want to say it speaks a lot about your high level of humility. Thank you for that, sir.
Indeed, when it comes to serving the people, more specifically, there comes first. And then media is one platform where young people, more specifically, had the opportunity to know what is happening in certain areas, but also do a vis-a-vis, compare and contrast as per what are the lessons learned or to be learned in other countries. As someone who has experience observing elections, like I said earlier, both in the Gambia and in Senegal, I know very well that young people outside who didn't have the opportunity will also need to know. So the topic is key, but also when it comes to serving national interests, we are always available. So
that's a great one. Just like you said, you are one of the watchdogs of society, just like myself. That is the fourth estate, CKA the media, responsible to serve as a mediator between the masses and national government in your state. And with your experience in observing elections in the Gambia and Senegal respectively, what would be your objective, or should I say very impartial description of a free, fair and transparent election?
Yes. Indeed, three major important issues, free, fair, and transparent. Yes, because when it comes to elections, first, it's a process where people had the opportunity to choose the ones they want to represent them. Either it's going to be a renewal of tenure or going to be a change of tenure. So when it comes to these three issues that I mentioned, that is free, fair, and transparent, it's very, very important. Because if an election is free, it means it will give the people, that is those that are there to cast the votes, the opportunity for them to get all the required materials to be present. But when it comes to a fair election, giving people who are going to be given the opportunity to participate in the elections, to also quest for, one, the political environment, and then when it comes to executing their campaign rights. But when it comes to the transparency, is all these two factors combined together, plus the election, because most of these two factors are post-election, that is activities that happens before the polling day. But they are all part of the election cycle or election process. And that is why when I saw election as a system, I said, yes, I like the, or democracy as a system, I said, I like this, because it's not only about casting the vote or the polling day, but it's about the activities that happens from the registration of voters down to the voter awareness, or what they call like voter.
It is important that you mention this because, interestingly, most times in Africa, when you hear about elections, or free, fair, and transparent elections, many people mistake it for just the election day. Little do they know that it has to do with the entire build-up to the election process. So it's important that you highlight how crucial it is.
Yes, indeed, because a lot of what is allegedly considered as a fraudulent action towards election don't even happen on the election day. Yeah. Most of these activities is on the registration process, on the campaign process, depending on who is in the opposition and who is in the incumbent. Because when it comes to the campaign materials, campaign funds, funding of campaign electoral processes are all issues that are looked into. Looking at the Gambia as a country, issuance of attestation are all part of issues as observers that we raised as key points for observation. Because if someone is in a position to give attestation, knows that I am not a Gambian, but gives me attestation for me to register as a voter, understanding very well that I am going to vote probably in their interest, but also knew very well that I am not a Gambian, therefore I am not qualified. So as observers, what we look into is what happens during the voter registration process. In fact, it's when it comes to voter renewal, if there are people that lost their voter's card, are they renewed? If not, how many % of those people that are qualified to be registered, how many of them are qualified and not registered? How many people are registered who are not qualified to be registered? So these are database that you first gather in the voter registration process, after which you look at the campaign period. How much is the state putting resources when it comes to voter awareness raising? Because people should know why they are voting for. When it comes to us in the media, dissemination of information, how opportunities, how many % of opportunities do we give to people in the opposition vis-a-vis people in the government? And this doesn't even mean when you favor only the opposition and you didn't favor the government, it's considered. Sometimes people favor people outside the government and those that are in the opposition, and forget about that. When it comes to election, every person, every candidate should be treated. Yes, indeed.
There must be the level playing field for all to thrive.
Indeed. These are very important issues. When it comes to also the other part of it, that is, as media personnel, coverage of election or campaign period. Because if 30 minutes is given to candidate A and 30 or 20 minutes is given to candidate B, it's also considered as a treatment that is not fair.
That's unjust.
So the other issue is, we're looking at candidates and not political parties. Why I'm saying candidates is because some of the candidates would prefer to come under an independent ticket. They will not have the resources that probably people coming from a political party would have. But as a media house, as observers, these are institutions that are supposed to treat them equally. Because once a person files in for his or her candidature and it's been approved by the electoral body in the Gambia, the Independent Electoral Commission, he or she should be treated equally.
Like all the parties.
There is no small candidate, there is no small party.
That's right. That's a great one. You are hearing there from Mr. Baji here on the show on the Pan-African Drive. But quickly, your nation, the Gambia, heads to presidential elections come 5th December of this year. Based on your own analysis in the electioneering process, since the departure of Yahya Jammeh and the emergence of President Adama Barrow, you have the democratic space has been so enabling, providing almost everyone an opportunity to try. You can see movements all over the place, political parties like the Progress, you have NUP, you name that, UMC, and what have you, added to already existing strong political parties like the United Democratic Party, and so to speak. and then you have incumbent President Adama Barrow. Do you think the emergence of a multi-party system in the Gambian democratic process speaks to the beauty of democracy, or on the other hand, it speaks to how divided Gambians are? And to what extent would you describe the forthcoming elections? Is it going to be the rigid, competitive one, or do you see an easy ride for any of the candidates or potential candidates?
Yes, first, when it comes to the availability of multi-parties, for me, it's an advantage. It shows the opportunity people have to choose from among the available candidates, one. But two, also considering the Gambian types of election, wherein it's not a percentage that is to be issued. It's first past the polls. First past the poll. In other countries, you have a 50+ percentage.
Like Liberia is 50% plus one.
Yeah, in the Gambia, it's really unfortunate that we are still going by the old method of election, that is first past the polls. And as a result, getting numerous parties to contest most of the time also serves as an advantage for the incumbent. The reason being, more specifically in the context of the current administration, where you have a combination of political parties forming an alliance to be part of the government, wherein you have the oppositions being divided into unit parties. Therefore, many a times, what will end up happening is, if there is no synergy among the opposition, the ruling party might have a chance, or will have the higher chance of winning. But when it comes to the process itself, it's also made others, because I've observed elections for so many times, and I've realized that some people don't even go and cast their votes simply because they believe among the available choices or options, none fits their description. And as a result, it is going to be very challenging if they don't have the multiple choice to choose from. And this is the advantage of getting people from movements, people from political parties, people from coming up as independent candidates, marching up together and then moving towards a common goal. Yeah, so this is very important. For me, as an election observer, it's critical. It means most likely the voter pattern is going to increase, because there are people that will go out and vote because candidate X is present or candidate Y is present, who wouldn't have gone out to cast their votes because to them, among the available choices, they don't have a choice.
That's a great one there from me. I'm enjoying how this is going. Mr. Baji, we've had nations like Nigeria, you have or Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and of recent you saw what happened in Tanzania, post-election violence, or traced to or irregularities during the electioneering process, so to speak. As Gambia head to December 5th, what crucial lessons can the nation of Gambia learn from those bad experiences in those nations that failed to have put their houses in order in terms of ensuring that the liberty, the inalienable rights of the people actually prevail?
Most post-election crisis shows indicators prior to elections. And then if people don't have the opportunity to, that's candidates, don't have the opportunity to contest, probably the election body responsible for the election is disqualifying potential candidates based on issues that are unsubstantiated or unjustified. Many a times, like I said, if I wanted to vote for candidate X and that candidate has been denied to contest simply because they believe the person is a threat or so, I am going to sit with that anger. Another person will do that. Another person will do that. So over time, people are going to build up with those and then react when the results comes out. So the other issue is the campaign period. How available are the campaign materials that are supposed to be issued? If in an instance of the state, is the state using state resources to finance finance the campaign, or to a certain degree even denied other people that had the opportunity, the opportunity of using certain materials from those campaign activities. A key example that I will give is if you are financing candidate X and then candidate Y is financing me, I denied you a contract simply because I know you're going to finance a candidate who is not in my favor, or the candidate might pose as a major threat. And as a result, I denied you the contract to make sure that you will not get this contract, so you will not get the opportunity to finance that other candidate. Indirectly, you are not, in an instance whereby the state does that, indirectly the state is not fighting you.
Yeah.
But instead, the state is fighting that candidate who has the potentials, and probably you, as one form of financier, they are denied you that. Once you get, in many times, African people in African states, people in the government will use sometimes state resources to also do the campaign. So with such issues, when people believe that state resources, in fact not believe, but they know very well that state resources are supposed to be used for state matters only. So as a result, that gap will most of the time propel people to react. So one is the availability of candidates, how they are disqualified or allowed to vote. The other issue is the denial of in fact, the unaccountability aspect of campaign funds is something else. So these two issues are very, very important, and then many a time people react based on that. But as per the question, what can the Gambia learn from that? Is we are known to be a peaceful country, and that is what we call the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. When it comes to campaign financing, the campaign availability of campaign space, the state, in this case, allowing people who has the franchise to listen to every candidate. The security plays a role in this. When it comes to the victimization of innocent people simply because they want to contest or want to support a candidate.
I was going to ask that, but thank God that you brought it in the space, because security apparatuses of the state have the responsibility for protecting all of the masses, the entire masses, to providing the enabling environment for them to exercise their political franchise. So it's good that you mentioned that. You can go ahead, sir.
Indeed. Because when it comes to enforcement, the security is responsible. You and I, those in the media, all that we can do is give them the media space.
That's right.
Those that are there to cast their votes, all they can do is cast their vote. The civil societies and non-governmental organizations, what they can do is do the monitoring. But the security is responsible for the enforcement.
Of course.
So if a candidate X is given security to make sure that his or her campaign activities will go very well, the person can get into all the corners of a country, and then other candidates are denied those opportunities. Those are flags, red flags that are raised when it comes to election matters, because it's always difficult to see many a times people in the opposition find it difficult to get into certain zones or certain areas when it comes to campaign. And as election matters, the state, which is the primary duty bearer, is responsible through the Independent Electoral Commission or the Electoral Commission in other countries.
You spent time in Senegal observing the elections, and is it back in 2012 or what?
Yes, it was in 2012. But, because the nature of their election is they are into 50+1. So during the first election in March, none of the candidates got a 50+ election. So in April of the same year, and they did the second round of the voting, where the then president emerged as the winner.
I think we have the same pattern in Liberia as well. But my question to that angle of discussion is, based on your experience in Senegal's elections, what aspect of the electoral process do you find amusing that you think importing into the Gambian democratic space or electoral process? Do you have any angle that you think that, what emulation by the Gambia whatsoever?
Yes, more specifically, I would say when it comes to the voter registration, because the Senegalese election, regardless of where you are, where a good number of Senegalese are, they will give them the opportunity to be registered and then cast their votes there. What they call diaspora voting. I know very well that most Anglophone countries don't copy such, but it gives people that traveled out of their country the opportunity to also express their franchise. The other issue is, I know very well that considering the literacy level of Gambians, using a paper ballot might be challenging. And therefore, I guess I am with the belief that our marble system, it's okay. But considering the growing number of candidates, if we want to continue by the marble system, how long would it take us, and how big over time will our polling booths be? Because if you want to put up 10 drums like if there are 10 candidates, it means you have to put up 10 drums in each polling booth. And therefore, over time, that might pose as a threat when it comes to the size or the security of the electoral process.
That's a great one. Quickly be reminded, wherever you are, that this edition of the Pan-African Drive is proudly sponsored by AfriCell, the best GSM service provider in the Gambia. Mr. Baji, when it comes to peace and stability, the Gambia, the small but mighty nation, can sit on the dining table of top nations in terms of lecturing what it takes to maintain peace and stability. That is what the Gambia has been recognized for, not just continentally, but globally as well. And we wish to continue on that very trajectory of peace. How crucial it is to have on the parts of the IEC in terms of their commitment to a free, fair, and transparent election as a catalyst for the peaceful coexistence between and amongst Gambians.
Yes, the Electoral Commission is one, but I want to start with the candidates.
Okay.
Yes, the reason being is because most of the time what happens post-election is when candidates also challenge results unjustifiably,
okay,
it also triggers violence. So yes, when candidates are disqualified unjustifiably, most of the time they will form an alliance or form a synergy with one of the candidates that has been qualified.
Okay.
But when electoral results, to challenge electoral results is normal, but make sure that all facts are gathered before challenging. Because if not, we have seen post-election crisis in many countries is as a result of one of the oppositions challenging electoral results, sometimes justifiably, but sometimes unjustifiably. Yeah. So as a result, that's why I said I wanted to start with the candidates, that let's ensure that for a free, fair, and transparent election to occur, candidates must also have the spirit of fair play, wherein you lose, you congratulate the other candidate. Once you congratulate as a candidate, your supporters will always subdue.
We've sent a message.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've seen it in Nigeria, the Goodluck, Buhari. Yes.
Also.
Yeah, indeed. Because people could have challenged the results, but once we've seen Goodluck congratulated Buhari, that has diffused all the potential crisis, and as a result, they came together and did a smooth transition.
And it same happened with George Weah out of Liberia in 2023. And he lost the election with 15,000 votes, just ahead of the election's final result. He picked up his mobile phone and called the current president, Joseph Numa Boakai, to congratulate him. And it was a very good signal as well.
The reverse occurred in the Gambia.
Yes, it happened.
Yeah, the first time he congratulated, that is in 2016.
He changed his mind.
Yeah, when we see the moment he congratulated, everyone was going on by their normal activities.
Okay.
The moment he changed his decision, on the spot, a good number of people were running for their lives. Because what happens is people have seen experiences in other countries. And the best thing to do is to evacuate your family to a safe zone. And that is something that is why I wanted to start with that place before coming to...
Did you stay in the country at that time? Were you?
Yes, indeed. I was an election observer. In fact, that year was a very challenging year for me.
Okay. It was funny.
Yeah, no, indeed. Because I was the chief electoral officer for the National Youth Parliament.
Okay.
And as a result, our observations were key. If there were going to be challenges at court, we were going to be one of the people to actually submit our reports. And then we couldn't have left the country. There was no way.
That's right.
Yeah, but it was very important. And then it was also a lesson learned that people know that you don't joke with the peace you have, because some people had never traveled outside the Gambia. They were forced to travel unceremoniously. Some people miss going to their villages for decades.
They had to go there.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, but as a result of that, some of them went back to those places.
Okay.
So those are experiences that we had to know that peace is something that,
priceless.
Indeed, peace is priceless. It cannot be compromised. So when it comes to the body responsible for election in the Gambia, the IEC, they have to ensure that from the issuance of voters' card down to the counting of votes. Okay, with the Gambia, with on-the-spot counting, most of the time, even if people want to challenge, it's very minimal. Okay. But even wherein that is the case, the verification of polls, the collation centers, the announcement of results, these are issues that cannot be compromised. But the other issue, I know very well that Gambia is known for timely delivery of results. We've seen in other countries where election results will take 3-4 days before they will come. In fact, some more. But in the Gambia, mostly within a period of 24-42 hours, you get the final electoral results. Okay. But timely delivery is also key. Okay. So these are issues that are very, very important. Providing security for all candidates, it shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a right. Once a person is qualified to be a candidate, he or she is entitled to enjoy the same privileges other candidates enjoy. Okay. And this is very key, because with that, even if people want to challenge, okay, I forgot to mention one thing, us in the media, also media coverage is key, because sometimes people make certain challenges or want to put up certain assumptions without having video proofs. But once we had coverage to all candidates, and they said this, and then another person said that, and if they want to challenge the results, we can always bring those videos.
Yes,
it helps.
Evidence,
So those are issues that will really help. But one thing that I know is peace is priceless. Yeah, we cannot compromise peace over anything. And anyone who wants to rule, the basis for any person to govern is peace. So be it the one in position or the one looking for the position, all of them should vie for the same thing, and that is get a peaceful country, and which it will allow people to express their right and then move on to either a renewal of tenure or a change of tenure.
Wow, we are on a 1 hour ride here on the Pan-African Drive here with Mr. Badji here. From Star TV, who is offering his expertise in the area of democracy, where we're talking about the importance of a free, fair, and transparent elections in the democratic space, if you like a democratic system. So I'll ask a very interesting question. Do you think the masses, the downtrodden masses, have a crucial role in ensuring that the elections is also free, fair, and transparent? Do they have a role to play in terms of non-violent elections? How crucial are the masses' role in the electioneering process?
Indeed, very important. You might not listen to a candidate, but the candidate has the freedom, constitutional right to move across every corner of the country to sell his or her agenda. And therefore, if you don't want to listen, it's your right. But you cannot deny the person from forming either a campaign group or whatsoever within a constituency or a ward or a village, because those are not rights to say this candidate will not enter our village. You don't have that right. And many a times, we've seen it happen in 2021 in the Gambia, in the West Coast region, and we believe it was wrong as observers, and we didn't know that it was something, a practice that was done, but it was out of ignorance. Because in as much as the candidate you're supporting will get into another place where he or she will not be supported, but still they will allow him to send in the information that they want to send in. If I call for a meeting at Teledal and people don't listen, I will leave.
Of course.
Yes, but I cannot be denied having the opportunity to call for a meeting.
Or to say your party.
Because once you don't listen, probably another person will want to listen. Because for me, one thing that I used to tell people as an activist is listen to every candidate, because they all are selling one thing. It depends on who sells it the way you want it. And then as a result, if you don't listen, you might miss something very important. So citizens had a role to play when it comes to maintaining a peaceful election. The other issue is on the polling day. Once you cast your vote, please do not form small group or cohorts within the electoral environment. That is the polling booth or the polling environment. Because once you do that, sometimes it tends to allow others to also come and join you. And they might see another person, presuming that he belongs to X or Y, forming a cohort, and that might lead to violence. The other issue is wearing of electoral materials, like campaign materials on election day. These are very, very important issues that we should, to the best of our ability, avoid. Also, pulling out to celebrate early without the final results are issues that we've seen as observers that pose a threat in other places. And it is very important. Yes, it's normal to celebrate, it's normal to rejoice, but do it after the announcement of the final results.
And within the confines of the law.
Within the confines, because this is something very important. So those are issues that many times citizens will do, sometimes even unknowingly, but they can trigger violence within the election period.
There's something very crucial I want to talk about here. It still boils down to the downtrodden masses. In the contemporary African society, there is a very unwholesome functioning. Many people have the lazy thinking pattern that once you belong to a political party that does not align with my vision, your writer will become an enemy. And so to speak, at a community level, in homes, parents stop speaking to their children. Children have animosity with their parents and precious group, and so to speak. So it is important that the mass, to what extent it is a crucial that people be given the democratic freedom to exercise the choices of candidates and political affiliation, because it's crucial in enhancing peace and stability, I would wish you to actually emphasize on how important it is that you are at liberty to making your choice, just as I am at liberty to making my choice, but it doesn't make us enemies.
Indeed. Right to association is not a privilege, it's a right. And this is one thing that we need to understand. Like I will tell people at home, I don't even want to know where my wife votes or who my wife votes for.
Okay.
Because the truth is, once a person is of age, and that is why it's not everybody that casts their votes. So once we understand the issue of franchise, that X age based on constitutionality, if you are 18 in the Gambia, you can vote.
Okay.
But the person to vote must be a person of a sound mind.
Okay.
So if I believe that the person is of age and the person had the sound mind, therefore I must also accept that the person has the right to make an informed decision. And how do you make an informed decision? Is by listening to all the potential candidates and then you make a choice. Because they are selling an idea. You are entrusting a responsibility to an individual for a gazetted period of time. And many times in the Gambia is 5 years. And therefore, if I don't have the choice to listen to every candidate, or I don't have the choice to vote, I have to listen to my parent to tell me whom to vote for. Or I have to listen to my wife to tell me vote for X, or I have to listen to my husband to tell me vote for X. Then where is the franchise? Therefore, if not, it's going to be in a system that we call indirect representation. Because we have in the election, you have like the direct and the indirect. Okay, in the Gambian system, we are using the direct representation, where we go and cast our votes, whosoever we want. In other countries, people vote for National Assembly, and the National Assembly will vote for the president. So there we entrust them with the responsibility for them to do that. But if we want to practice a similar situation in homes, either in an extended family setup or in a nuclear family setup, to say, okay, my wife must vote for this, or my child must vote for this. In fact, sometimes tenants, I've seen a situation whereby a person gave
notice.
Like it said, leave within 3 days.
Or because you did not choose.
Because unfortunately, the person wore an electoral, a campaign material of a particular candidate and came to the house. I said people tend to forget that tenants have rights.
Of course.
Yes, because you have a contract with the person.
Just to stay in your house and pay rent.
Yeah. So where I support, whom I vote for, doesn't matter. And the other issue is I might wear a campaign material of X, but not vote for that person.
Of course.
Because I've seen, as an observer also, people who almost had all the T-shirts
t-shirts, and then to increase the size of the wardrobe.
Yeah, they do that, but also wait for whosoever wins so that they will join the celebrants. Because they will not want on the day of victory, they will not have it. So as a result, they will get like 2-3 different or potential candidates that they believe will win. They will get all of them their
As a tactic to have a sense of belonging to everyone.
Yeah, so once there is victory, whosoever wins, you go out with that one and celebrate.
Nigerians who call that follow mentality.
So it's not a privilege. People have the rights, and these are rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, and these are entrenched clauses that people have their rights to association and freedom of expression. So an election is one process where people have the right to choose whosoever they want to represent them, but also casting their vote itself is something key. Yes, a key material that I have learned when it comes to the election of Gambia is the fact that the way our elections are conducted, it is going to be very difficult, almost impossible, for it to be on the polling day. On the polling day. But activities that may happen prior might trigger to that. So yes, allow people to make their choice, allow people to go and cast their votes, come back home and also maintain peace, and then follow the various media platforms.
Okay, that's a great one, dear. I love the conversation today. I'm learning a lot as an individual, but quickly. Based on your analysis and your own thinking pattern and your survey in Senegal at the Gambia, let me specify that here in the Gambia. What tangible evidence, have you had an intangible experience, perhaps conscious or subconscious errors on the part of security apparatus or on the part of the IEC or on the part of incumbency or minority group or groups or private individual that in terms of actions or inactions that has or have the possibility of undermining the credibility of elections? Have you had any?
Yes, issues of attestations are issues that we've challenged so many times. Simply because if I want to prove that I am a Gambian, it's not my alcalo to prove to the IEC that I am a Gambian. Because clearly our constitution has specified who should be a Gambian and how can one be a Gambian. So even if I am here for 10 years, or in fact 15 years, without regularizing my status as a non-Gambian, that doesn't make me a Gambian. But the other major observation that we raise as observers is, why is it that they will consider voters card as a national document, but you cannot use it to get any other document? That is the funny thing. So
I want you to say that again.
Yeah, no, it's very funny. You consider a voter's card as a national document, which gives you the powers to choose who will represent you. But that same document cannot allow you even to get an ID or a driving license.
You cannot even open an account with that.
So are we saying that the system understood that not everybody who gets a voter's card deserves it? Or we are saying voter's card is not enough to justify that you are a citizen? Because these are issues that we have seen only during electoral period. People can be given attestation to get confirmation. You take that same national document to the immigrations to look for an ID or a passport, you would still be scrutinized. Who issued it? The state. Who is issuing the ID card is the state. So if the state believes that whosoever is given a voter's card deserves it, then you don't need to scrutinize me again. So for me, I believe these are behaviors that people do, but understand it very well. The unfortunate part is people in the opposition will criticize it. But once they are in office, they will embrace it. That is the unfortunate part of it. However, when it comes to the issue of security, it is always good. I haven't experienced it in the Gambia, honestly, but we have observed it in Senegal in 2012. The March elections, not the April elections, because in the March elections, we've seen at one point in time, things went a little bit tough in Senegal. And then at one point in time, there were observations of police heavy-handedness on some of the candidates. Yeah. Probably they are considered as minority groups. Okay. But these are issues that we believe as observers that we need to work towards that. Africa is a continent that is supposed to be championing democracy. Because when it comes to us as a people, we have lived civilization way back. If you look at the history, Egypt is one of the countries that has paved the way. So our level of democracy, our level of choosing leaders should be peaceful. So therefore, I believe we really need to do a lot when it comes to such. The other issue is the counting process now, yes, to a certain degree. Okay. I know it is going to be difficult for us to digitalize it using the marble, but for slowing of internet is something that we have also observed. Okay. Sometimes deliberately, either the objective is to diffuse fake information or also to deny people from getting the information on time. We will not know, but we believe when it comes to access to information, is something key and it's a right.
That's a great one here. It remains a Pan-African drive, like we said. This is a platform that is meant to build bridges between and amongst Africans. To my own Liberian people, wherever you are, I say to you in Pela language, I say, Adamaka platform kanka jio. To Sierra Leone, to you, I say to you, Una Kusheo. To Nigerians in the western part of the country, that's Yoruba-speaking region of all Nigeria that comprises Lagos, Ikiti, Ondo, Kwara. I say to you about Nisha, about Lombo, Otuto, Yomentato, southeastern part of the country that are dominant the Igbos. I say to you, one name, the number Ikaraka Ijie, Mechuku Abiyama, Amama Amasi, Oshimili Atata, Ikue, Mechuku Kike, Odoku Akataka, strengthening all of you wherever you are under the sound of my voice to the northern part of the country that is dominantly Islamic. I say to you in this month of Ramadan, I say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The French-speaking nations of the continent of Africa, I say to you, merci, don't deserve support. Of course, to Swahili-speaking nations that comprises Nairobi, Kenya, Tanzania, and I say to you, Asante Kumasara. When you quit to see that, thank for supporting us. To South Africa, and I say to you, in KwaZulu-Natal, Sanbonani Mzanzi, Ngeya Nimbingelela. This is the Pan-African Drive. We'll take our quick break, and we get back and continue the show here on the Pan-African Drive.
We've got fantastic new social media bundles just for you. Here are your options.
50 megabytes for $10 is valid for 1 day.
Enjoy 400 megabytes for $40, valid for 7 days.
Get a massive 1,200 megabytes for $100 is only, valid for 7 days.
Simply dial *120# and press 3 to pick the social media bundle that suits you best. Subscribe now.
Why settle for one when you can talk with two? With the Africell TOK service. For just $99, you get a massive 1,200 minutes of talk time to share between your two favorite people. To activate, dial *135#, select your two Africell numbers, and you're locked in for a full month of conversations. Africell, connecting you to your peoples.
Mr. Baji, I love the conversation today. I repeatedly says that. And going forward to the 5th of December of this year, if you were given an opportunity to be seated at the office of the commissioner of the IEC of this country in terms of designing a roadmap that leads to a very successful elections, what's your roadmap?
Yes, first I will increase the campaign period.
Okay.
3 weeks is most of the time a little bit small.
Okay.
Considering availability of resources, it might favor bigger parties like the incumbent and the major opposition parties.
Okay.
But when it comes to smaller parties or candidates, individual, what is called the independent candidate, it's always difficult because before they will crisscross the country within a period of 3 weeks, they find it difficult to reach other areas. And these political parties or individuals who don't have the existing structures to help them do the campaign from ward level to the constituency level, which parties have already, bigger parties would already have. I know it's a requirement that every single party must get those systems, but we know very well that they don't exist in most political parties.
In terms of structure,
Yeah, the structural availability is not there. So therefore, doing your campaign within a period of 2 to 3 weeks is very difficult.
Very limited.
The other issue is distribution of campaign resources. In a country where political parties are not subvented, therefore there is need for the Electoral Commission to observe campaign financing and put up a ceiling. Gambia, sometimes even there's a lot of campaign activities that are not even recorded. Like X can just say, I'm printing 1,000 T-shirts for Teledal. And then you just go and said, this person went and picked up 1,000 T-shirts. You will not know what the interest is, that particular individual or a specific group. Why are they printing this number of T-shirts for Teledal and stuff? And these are issues that happens only within campaign period. These are issues that happen only within campaign time. Then we would also put up a clear roadmap for people within the media space to say, okay, if you don't have the capacity to cover all political parties, please put up a sequence as per, okay, within this period, we will cover these political parties, and within the other period, we will cover that other political parties. So these are other issues that are very important. Also put up a clear statement to say, if there is any paid for coverage or paid for program, clearly be labeled that this is a paid for program or this is a paid for coverage, so that people would not presume that, for example, Teledal has given 30 minutes for Kausu and then give 25 minutes for the Pan-African Drive.
That's a great one there for you. The monopolization of elections in Africa is one of the viruses that is affecting the democratic process as a continent and as a people. We saw what happened in Uganda, Kampala, with Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and Bobby Wine, and the evidence are all over the country. What message do you have for African leaders that are constantly in the exercise of monopolizing electioneering processes for their personal aggrandizement, which in the end results in a counterproductive nature in terms of pre- and post-election violence? What message do you have for such leaders that are involved in such unwholesome function in society as in monopolizing elections in their favor?
Yes, most of the time, those leaders, what they will do is they will put up individuals to move those agendas. Because the truth is, like I keep saying, the leader will not go and exercise some of those activities. But what they will do is they will put up a system. So the first thing that they will do is change the top command of the security apparatus to favor them. Some of them would even get to changing the leadership or representatives in the National Assembly to help them execute some, even make change or amendments of certain laws to suit them. But the truth is, if you believe in what you're doing, competition is something that we should always embrace.
Of course.
Because the opportunity of competition is, it gives people the choice for them to confirm that, okay, the state still wants you to continue. If the environment is free and fair, but you still win the election, you know clearly that I'm winning not because I used force. I'm winning because I'm the people's choice. Yeah. So if not, holding yourself accountable. Many times people also do certain activities, not because they don't know it is wrong. They know it is wrong, but they also try to maintain in office because they know that the ill activities that they do is too much. And as a result, once they leave, they are afraid of that. The other part is us also as people. More specifically, those in the oppositions, once they come to governance, please do not also victimize your predecessors, because sometimes also people they want to leave, but they are afraid of the aftermath of presidency. So these are issues that we should put into consideration. Yes, we must embrace change. We must embrace accountability. So these are important issues. For me, leadership comes with responsibility. But how do we hold ourselves accountable first? But also ensure that once we replace people, we create an environment whereby others would learn that once it is time for them to leave, they need to leave without fear of themselves, their families, or immediate supporters. So these are also some of the reasons why some people will continue to strengthen those activities, regardless of knowing that it is wrong, because they know they have gotten into a lot of commitment that if a candidate or presidency leaves, most likely they are going to be witch hunted for their ill doings. So yes, it's high time that Africa begin to protect its leaders, in the sense that we've seen the example in other countries. There will be a lot of allegations, but regardless of what, we don't see those people being taken to court. We don't see those people being taken to more specifically with the International Criminal Court. So why can't Africa embrace some of those activities? Yes, we need to promote good governance and democracy. We need to promote accountability and transparency, but also we need to also promote best practices to avoid people for smooth transition of power. Sometimes people really want to leave office, but they're afraid. And I will use the words of Nelson Mandela, who said, we are not here to pay back. You are not afraid of giving us the independence. You are afraid of the aftermath of the independence. So these are important issues. Yes, let's understand that there must be, countries will continue to exist, but leadership will always change. So no matter how long you stay, either nature will take you call for, or other issues will come. So let's prepare ourselves towards accepting substitution.
A very brilliant point he just mentioned there. The country continues to exist, but leadership changes. And it is important that the current leadership of the African continent take note of that once you are given amount of authority to steer the affairs of your nation, you must do that within the confines of the law. It's a beautiful experience here today on the Pan-African Drive with Mr. Badji. Quickly, I come back to you on to African leaders once again. There is a misconception that our leadership have had, or a very poor mindset, which I have a problem with. During electioneering process, should I say the campaign exercise, a build up to elections, people have the right to have political institutions, political parties, and so to speak. But once the election will have been conducted and a particular party wins, it's no longer that party's leadership. It is the leadership of the Republic of the Gambia. It is the president of the Republic of Liberia or Ghana or Senegal or Syria or whatever country. But most importantly, once in contemporary African politics, our politics is so, should I say, rigid or poor in a manner that once a leader ascends the position of authority, he corners the rest of the oppositions and believe that it is his party that voted him into the positions of authority. So the ministers and other government parastatals head come directly from his party. What message do you have for leadership in terms of reflecting a government of inclusion? Because we have to manage our post-election activities, starting with giving opportunities to people not based on the party affiliation, but based on the fact that they have what it takes, they have what it takes to bring on the political mortgage market in terms of leadership. What do you see the leadership with such toxic behavior, as in, you did not vote for me, so I can bring it on board. This West Coast region voted for me, so I have to give them priority, so to speak. What do you have to say to that?
Indeed, it's very wrong. Like, still the same issue. Edward Francis Small said so. No taxation without representation. If you cannot include me part of your administration, not because of I am incompetent, but simply because I didn't vote for you, why would you collect tax from me to use it for state building? Yeah, because these are issues that we put into consideration. Yes, I accept very well that sometimes it's the fear for sabotage. Because sometimes also you put people in an administration, they will watch you or want you to fail so that the candidate of their choice will also come on board. So it has to be two-way. First, as people that are given the opportunity to choose from among the competent and qualified people to fill in the positions. Please choose and select competent people, not based on only their party affiliation, but based on their competence and experience.
The character, competence, and capacity to lead.
Yeah, because if not, you might end up bringing people that will be in a military yes sir, no sir administration sort of. Because Clearly, if you bring in people simply because they believe in your agenda, they might not add value to making you successful to get a second tenure. Or even wherein you will be looking for a second tenure, you begin to deny potential candidates from competing simply because you know your availability or the potentials of your winning is not based on merit, but based on favoritism. So that is one thing. The other issue is also people that they entrust in positions simply because they are competent. But because they are supporting party Y and party X is in governance, they will also not want to put up the deliverables on time. So all milestones will go unattained. All indicators might prove otherwise simply because they want that administration to fail. So these are two things that we should put into consideration as a people. That whosoever is responsible for the development will not be the only one to enjoy that development. Like looking at the Gambia, Sarauda puts up the Gambia College. Today he is no more, but we are still using the Gambia College. Former President Jammeh puts up the university. Today he is not in administration, but people are still using the university. Currently, President Adama Barrow puts up USET. However, he is not going to be there forever. So these are important issues that we should put into consideration. Once we put up systems and structures, we should allow them to prevail, but not necessarily sabotage individuals simply because we don't want them to be there and they are the ones that are there. So what you said is key. Yes, campaign period is party-driven agenda. When it comes to administrative issues, that is why the person will not take a political party manifesto to be sworn in office. The person used what? The constitution of a country to be sworn in into office. So once you are sworn in into office, you are to remember that you are to serve throughout that period that is being gazetted by that country. In the Gambia, it is 5 years. And therefore, throughout the period of that 5 years, whatsoever you are executing, please remember the oaths that you've took. Without ill will, affection, fear, or favor. And these are things that we keep singing, but we tend to forget that our citizens should hold us accountable for these three words. I will execute my duties without fear, favor, ill will, or affection. So these are very important issues.
That's great. We are driving close to the end of this conversation here, but shortly I will provide you the opportunity to speak to the masses, the Gambian people, in whatever vernacular language that you're very comfortable with. On the essence of the maintenance of peace and stability before, during, and after the elections. That's 2 into 1. One to the sitting government in terms of the creation of the enabling environment for all to thrive before, during, and after the elections. Please talk to the masses and talk to the national government.
Ok, comme ni nga ko waxee rek am na solo trop li ñoo njëkk a wax rek mooy waxtaan bi lu ko tax a jóg mooy elections lan la si li nga xamante ne moom mooy jaama mun a def and then loolu dafa nekk li nga xamante ne lu am solo la trop tey fii nii ci li nga xamante ne moom mooy tere daal comme niñ ko waxee si weer yuñ dégmal si rek spécifiquement li nga xamante ne moom mooy December 5th mooy juróomeeli fan bi si weeru December di weer bu mujj ci at bi dinañ dugg ci li nga xamante ne moom mooy elections and then su fekkee ne elections wax nañ ko benn jamono la bi nga xamante ne rek ñu ne nit ñi nañ tànn kan lañ bëgg mu teewal leen ci bérébu teewukaay gannaaw bu December bi présidence la ñoo wax kon kan lañ bëgg pour mu teewal ñu ci toogu li nga xamante ne moom mooy présidence bi si diir bi nga xamante ne moom la luwa binda muy juróomi at kon su fekkee ne loolu nañ koo def war nañ koo def ci jàmm ci dal ak ci li nga xamante ne moom mooy lu jaar yoon loolu nag suñ ko waxee nguur gi am na ci loxo anglais ñu ne the state is the primary duty bearer nguur moom moo amee li nga xamante ne moom mooy donkaaci bi ci wàllu doxalin kon fa nguur moom moo ko amee war naa make sure ne the Independent Electoral Commission mooy IEC am nañ li nga xamante ne moom mooy koppar bu takku pour def élection Independent Electoral Commission war nañoo gëstu élection bi li nga xamante ne moom mooy from voter registration di njëlbeen bu njëkk bi ci process bi mooy bindu bi nga xamante ne moom la doomi aadama yi war a bindu pour war a mun a am voters card also li nga xamante ne moom mooy campaign time bi war nañoo jox ñëpp equal opportunities mooy tolluwaay yi nga xamante ne moom la gaay war a am pour def li nga xamante ne moom mooy campagne sànni carte bi tamit su jotee war nañoo make sure ne polling booths are accessible and visible mooy war nañ ko mun a jot mu war a dem foofu noonu am na li nga xamante ne waxuñ ko woon si anglais mooy way laago yi war nañoo mun a am access pour dem sànni ji si fi nga xamante ne moom mooy di polling booths su loolu weesoo li nga xamante ne moom mooy political parties yi ak candidates yi su fekkee nit ki bëgg naa taxaw as an independent candidate war naa am axa boobu noonu pour def ko te Independent Electoral Commission di IEC war nañoo saytu yooyu noonu yëpp make sure ne mu mat waaye lu am solo mooy jàmm ci la lépp xëj jàmm kenn mënut koo jënda bara nga xam ne jàmm dafa neex rek nga ñàkk ko kon loolu dafa nekk lu am solo. I haven't mentioned this in English, but it's important for when it comes to electoral votes. For people to put into consideration people with special needs or physical challenges.
Or disabilities.
Because
very important.
These are very important issues that we cannot put up polling booths at certain areas whereby people with special needs cannot access them. So because once we talk about franchise, it's something that we should put into consideration. I have the right to cast my vote in a secret and a peaceful ballot transition.
Okay. Just before I take leave of you, I want you to replicate that very message you did close to a minute or two for the rest of the African continent in terms of for national governments in our respective nations providing the enabling environment for all political parties and, should I say, independent candidates to thrive during electionary processes, and there should be the execution of the ghost of violence before, during, and after the election. What do you say to the rest of the continent in the maintenance of peace and stability?
Yes, peace is priceless. And for me, I am really with the belief that Africa is supposed to be the exemplary continent for peace for so many reasons. You cannot cross anywhere in the world to say that this particular people were enslaved by Africans. It has never happened.
No.
History has never shown so.
No.
So therefore, we are champion of peace. We are champion of democracy, because even prior to the availability of this democracy, we were governing ourselves in a peaceful...
Traditionally.
And yes. And these are issues that we have embraced. So therefore, we shouldn't be taught of what we know. We shouldn't be mentored on things that we have been practicing. So really, the continent deserves to enjoy peace. And the future is Africa. The reason being is studies are indicating that almost every 10 people you count now, about 6 of them would either be Africans or have DNA of Africans. So therefore, the future is Africa. And we cannot spoil the future simply because we want to continue to stay in governance. Yes, government is very, very enjoyable. Governance is very nice, but it comes with a responsibility and it comes with a price. So my message to all African people is, first, those in governments, please govern and govern with the wisdom that tomorrow you will not be in office or you may not be in office. But also those in the followership, also follow with a peaceful understanding that, yes, I want to lead, but I want to govern a peaceful country. And therefore, I cannot set it ablaze so that I'll be in government. Also, allow people, that is your predecessors, to enjoy the aftermath of presidency. Give them a complete better life even after presidency. That people will begin to be yearning to be a former president than even to be a president. Because this is a major challenge that we have in the continent. People sometimes want to leave, but they are afraid of the aftermath of presidency. So let's create laws. Let's protect our presidents. Let's protect them more after presidency so that they will be yearning to be former presidents than to be presidents.
That's a great one, dear. It's been great having you on the show here today. To those of you following us today on our TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, we say to you a massive salute. Share, likes, and comment on the Pan-African Drive here, the platform that is meant to build bridges between and amongst Africans wherever you are, under the sound of our voices here. And it comes every Wednesday here on Teledar TV with me, Tony Michael Howard. And a quote of the day says, one of the greatest attributes of integrity is its blunt refusal to be compromised. So if you are in a positions of authority, a CKA, the presidency or ministerial positions or any government parastatus, it is important that you lead with integrity. But most importantly, as we draw close to an election in this country, the Gambia, it is expected of the incumbent of our President Adama Barrow to ensure that the enabling environment for all political parties to thrive is very crucial, because that is a catalyst for the enhancement of all democratic dividends in little but mighty Gambia. And this is a standard to the rest of the African continent, that peace is the word. And this is the only continent we have, and the Gambia, this is the only country you cannot be deported from. So like your national anthem says, for the Gambia, our homeland, we strive and work and pray that all may live in unity, freedom, and peace. Each day, not some of the days or some days of the week, but each day. So it is crucial. It is a binding responsibility of every single Gambian to ensure that this country grow by virtue of you abiding by the national doctrines. That is the constitution of the state. So from the presidential level to the lowest person in the society, there is no low person in the society. But in terms of political positions, we say the low person in society, we all have a responsibility to safeguard the democracy of this country. Because if we mess this country, we all feel the resultant effects. If we make it grow, we feel the positive resultant effects of developing our country. This is the Gambia, this is the Pan-African Drive that comes away on Teledar TV, the best online media outlet, not just in the Gambia, but by extension the rest of the African continent, where information, education, and entertainment remain core. It's been with me, Tony Michael Howard, your Pan-Africanist, CKA Neil Socrates. Great to have you here. See you some other time. Bye-bye.
You can now turn your loyalty points into data or voice bundles. Simply dial *772#, press 1 to check how many points you've got, press 2 to redeem those points. Recharge on AfriCell, buy credit on AfriMoney, buy cash power. Lord Efrek, you get points. Even when you redeem, your total points still stack up, giving you a chance to win one of 2 luxury AfriCell villas. AfriCell, 25 years of rewarding loyalty, and we're just getting started.